Hi everyone, Katie here. Welcome back to another layout video. This one is a part of my spring clean challenge and conveniently an SCT sampler. This one is from February of 2023 and I am scrapping some photos of my sister and I. I've got two 3x4 photos that I'm going to scrap. We were at an event at our local library actually. So definitely a story I want to remember. So I decided this needs to be a layout that has stenciling on it as well as a bunch of pieces from my sampler. So I want to build a bunch of layers and be able to use the pieces that I have from the SCT sampler left over. So I had two 3x4 cards, so I trimmed my photos down just a little bit and use those 3x4 cards as mats. Which is great. I liked the cards, but I am not a project lifer, and I didn't really see another use for them. This worked out really well, and of course it helped make my photos stand out against my background. And I've picked out those three pages that you can see there from the sampler that I want to use on my layout here. And first though, I knew I wanted to do some stenciling, and as I looked through the colors that I have in Distress Oxide, because that is my most preferred ink, and the colors that were in the pages that I picked out to use, I decided to use my orange, the Spiced Marmalade Distress Oxide, because I thought it would give it, there's orange in that flower paper there. And I thought it would just kind of add a little something. That is not a color that I use particularly often. So I think it really makes my layouts look different and unique when I actually do use it. Now this stencil, I love it. It's a Vicky Bouton one. But it does not, line up perfectly. So as you can see, I'm trying to match it up here and it's just not lining up, and that actually works out just fine because later you'll see how I use my papers to conceal that line that shows how uneven they are here, because really right there doesn't look great, but that's okay. I make it work. Now I want to use this flower paper. I decided to cut it into 2-inch strips so that I can use two of them right there to go across my paper and then kind of build up from there. So I kind of created like a little shelf for my layout to sit on, and then I'm gonna put it all together. Now I decided to stick it down so that the tiniest little gap between the two pieces of flower paper is in the middle. So it goes all the way to the very edge, and then that tiny little gap ends up being covered up by my black and white stripe paper there. And just to add a little bit of texture, I decide to distress the edges. I've got a little edge distressing tool, though of course if you're really careful you could just use the blades of scissors. The edge distressing tool is not super expensive though, and it's definitely worth not cutting myself. So I put that down there, and I was on the fence as to whether I wanted to use this blue polka dot paper, because at first I'm kind of like, well, it's not like super coordinating. I mean, there's that blue in the flower paper, but I don't know. I wasn't super feeling it, but then I was like, no, this is my spring cleaning challenge. I am going to put the things on there that I want on there, and I liked the added shelf kind of more at the top that it creates, that kind of extra layered look. Now, for whatever reason, this paper, I think it's because of the little diagonal stripes that I've got going there, I had the hardest time lining it up. I actually had to get out my T-square, as you saw there, to see if I was, lining it up properly. And, measuring determined it was lined up properly. It was just playing tricks on my eyes with those funky little stripes there. Now I'm lining everything up, and then I'm looking at the embellishments that I have in the sampler. Now I have these little cards that says, "Thanks, friends, love you." Honestly, I thought they were cute. I probably wouldn't have used the thanks one. Maybe I'm saying thanks to the library for hosting the event. I don't know. But sure, I'm friends with my sister. I could say I love her too. So that makes sense to put on there. But I decided to stack them over here on the sides, which I thought was a little bit different. And another way to kind of create more on the layout and use more of my supplies. So that was good there. Now, I really wanted my title to have something with the word beautiful because that was the die of the month in February. And of course, it has this little sentiment stamps as well. So I was thinking that that would be my title. I actually, leave the title for last. I do a little journaling about this cozy themed event that the library had in February. We got to eat snacks, do a puzzle, drink tea, color a little adult coloring page. It was just a fun, relaxing way to start the weekend, and we enjoyed it. So I journal a little bit about that down there. I thought about making a journaling card, but then I was like, no, this is plain white paper. Like, I'm just going to go for it. Now, I have this sticker sheet also from the sampler, and it has a whole bunch of these cute little hearts, and I decide I'm going to, what feels to me like over-embellish here, and put these hearts down with some foam, and just put them, in a line along that bottom, like the striped page there. Now, I pop it up on some foam. I use some foam squares there to add a little dimension to it, and I actually really like how that turns out, and I love just like the iridescent like little mermaid holographic bits. I think that is super cute there. Now I've got that together, and like I said, I really tried to get that beautiful die in there so that I could use it, or then I even think, okay, maybe one of my different SCT dies would make a nice title, but I just really wasn't feeling it. Then I see this little piece that says story. That also came in the sampler. I thought I was going to use that title bit for something else, but I decided not to. I decided to just go for it. Now I am trying to ink up the edges with my Crayola fine point marker because it just kind of gets lost without inky edges. Now, you gotta be super careful because I do end up drawing on the little title a little bit, which I'll be honest, I don't love, but I also feel like this title, the word is so busy that you don't really notice it. It's not like it's the first thing you notice, although, of course, I wish I had just done a better job in the first place. So if that's something you do, just be careful, because you might draw all over it. Now, I'm popping up the word story, mostly because I really don't want it to get lost on the stripy background there that will go behind it. And then I think, of course, popping it up gives it that extra dimension there. Now, my little foam dots here, they come from the Dollar Tree. I really enjoy using them. However, the new ones that I got are slightly thicker than my foam tape. So I can't use them at the same time, which I don't like. I like being able to use them interchangeably. So we'll see. I might have to invest in new foam dots later. Now I also have some thickers. It says remember this, or some puffy thickers that I've had for quite a while. So that felt good to use that aspect of my stash up as well. I also toss on another little sticker to kind of bring the gold down to the bottom too. And then I add this little arrow that I had wanted to add from the get-go, but I wasn't quite sure where. It was also from the SCT sampler, so I was super happy to get that on the layout. Of course, popped up on foam, so it didn't get too lost there. And then I do two things to finish off my layout. One is use my Heidi Swap Color Shine to create some splatters. This is in pink. And then I finally will add my date stamp. I love this roller date stamp. It's a Project Life tool, and it is fantastic. I put that down in the bottom right-hand corner, and that will finish up my layout. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.